Hi, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I'm not going to repeat the stuff that's in the article above, so I hope you took some time to read that. In this video, I want to share with you some thoughts. You see, I sat down and I gave some thought to, if I were starting over today and wanted to get into real estate, what do I need to know? What do I need to do? What follows now in this little video are the thoughts that I thought that you probably need to think in order to think correctly about how to get going in this business. Follow all that? All right, I call it Find Your Fit in Real Estate Investing. There are a lot of things that you can do in real estate investing. You need to pick which way you want to go, pursue that, get good at that, and then add another skill. But let's look at an overview. The first thing you need to think about is why invest in real estate in the first place? That's a good question. You're probably already convinced, so I'm not going to give you all of the reasons. I'm just going to give you a few. First is obvious. You can create income, both active and passive. Secondly, you can get to financial freedom. That's a real possibility through real estate. And lastly, you can build wealth that you can pass on to your children and grandchildren, what they call generational wealth. So those are a few good reasons to invest in real estate. Now, I need to talk to you for a minute about why not fix and flip. People come to me all the time and they've seen the TV shows and they want to do it. They're in love with the idea of buying an old house and fixing it up. And there's almost a romantic notion about this. And listen, I cut my teeth watching This Old House on public broadcasting and loved that show, still love that show, and watch what they do to just create these beautiful homes. But you know, they don't really make money on This Old House. And the house flipping shows that you see on TV, well, listen, I don't want to say a whole lot here, but that's just TV. Fixing and flipping is not for everyone. And here are 3 reasons why it may not be for you. First of all, it takes some money. You might be saying, well, I'm going to borrow the money. Okay, if you borrow the money, you still have to have a down payment. You still have to make the monthly payments. You still have to turn the lights on. You have to insure it. You have to advance your contractor some money. You've got some cash requirements, even if you're borrowing the money to do your fix and flip. It's going to take you between $20,000 and $40,000 to do the average flip. And if you're in one of the more expensive markets, it could be a lot more. So it takes some cash. Next reason why not to fix and flip, it requires some type of skill or experience. Do you have experience managing a business? Do you have any experience repairing a home? Have you ever swung a hammer? Do you know how parts and pieces of a house get put together? If you don't know these things, then you're going to need some training. And training is available out there, but I would not recommend that you dive into fixing and flipping if you have no skills, no experience, and no training, because that's just a recipe for disaster and continuing heartache and headache. Well, what about wholesaling? All right, let's think about wholesaling. For those of you that don't know, wholesaling is where you get a property under contract to buy, but you don't actually buy it, you sell the contract. And really, in wholesaling, you're not selling a property, you're selling the contract. You're assigning it for an assignment fee. It's not wholesaling in the sense of some middleman buys the products from some overseas country at a low price, marks them up a little bit, and then sells them to a bunch of retail stores. It's not wholesaling in that sense. Really, the better word to use is a word from the stock market. It's called arbitrage, because you're selling something you don't actually own. You're selling this property. When you get a property under contract, you have the right, the contract says you have the right to buy it, but you're selling the right to buy it to someone else for a fee. That's wholesaling in real estate. So what does it take to be involved in wholesaling? To be good at it requires, well, you've got to have some marketing expertise. You've got to get out there and find the deals. You've got to also have some negotiation skills, because you're going to be talking to people. You're going to be trying to convince sellers to sell their house at such a low price that you can mark it up just a little bit and still make money, and the person buying it from you has room to make some money also. You're going to need to be able to estimate repairs. If you've never swung a hammer, if you've never fixed a property, you may not have any idea. And believe me, I meet wholesalers every week who don't have any idea what it's really going to take to fix a property. You've got to have some knowledge of the real estate market. You have to know what constitutes a good deal. All real estate is local. You've probably heard that. But you need to know from street to street and neighborhood to neighborhood what this rehabbed property is going to sell for, also called the ARV, or the after repair value, because you need to communicate that to your potential buyers. So you're going to have to know some things even to be a wholesaler, and you're going to have to know how to put the deal together, how to protect yourself, how to create the contract assignment. There are things that you have to learn even if you want to be a wholesaler. Now, in real estate, and I did say this in the article above, there are 3 ways to make money. You can buy with the intent to add value and sell, and that creates income for you. This is the flip model. The second thing you can do is you can buy with the intent to create income or cash flow, and that's the hold model. The third thing that you can do is invest in someone who is doing one of the first 2, and we call this the passive income model. Really, there are 86 ways we've documented or careers that you can be involved in real estate. And of those 86, each one has 5 or 10 or 100 variants. There are so many different things that you can do. It's a mind-boggling array of possibilities if you want to get into real estate investing. But all of it boils down to one of these 3, either flip, hold, or passive. And so let's talk about the return, because if you have a job that you like or can tolerate and you make good money, more than you need to live, maybe you don't need to be involved in the flipping activities. Maybe you just need to acquire real estate and create income from it and build your future that way. That's fine. There's just something that you need to know. As you are more involved in real estate and the more active you are in general, the more money you're going to make. If you choose a passive strategy, you can still make good money and you can make good returns, but it's not going to be as much as if you're the one out there on the front line taking the risk and swinging the hammers, or directly hiring the people that are swinging the hammers. Okay, so real estate comes with some barriers to entry. If you have no money, if you have bad credit, if you have no knowledge, if you don't know where to begin, but I'm glad you're here because you're here to begin, right? So begin by taking inventory. And this is where I've been pointing to this entire talk. I want you to take inventory of your life. If I were sitting down today to start a real estate business, the first thing I would do is this. Take inventory. Well, what do you mean? Here's what I mean. How much time do you have? How much money do you have? I'm not asking you to tell me. I just want you to be honest with yourself about your time and your money. How much training have you had? What are your rehab skills? What about construction management, business ownership or experience? And there's some other things to ask too. How are you as a marketer? Do you understand technology? How are your people skills? Are you task-oriented? What's your risk tolerance? Okay, now it's nice to sit down and think about these things, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to download this presentation so you can think about it. But wouldn't it be great if this was in a nice little chart? And so the answer is yes, it would be great. And here's a chart. And so you could see you've got time, money, training, rehab skills, construction management. And each one of these, I want you to go over here and tick off on the box whether you are low, medium, or high. How good are you at this? Be honest with yourself. Your time, for example. Do you have a little bit of time? Do you have a moderate amount of time? Do you have a lot of time? Just indicate which. Then I want you to think about the options that are in front of you and what they require in all of these areas. For example, the first option might be wholesaling. Another is fix and flip. Another is buy and hold. Another is short-term rentals. Another might be a money lender. Okay? And your last might be a passive investor. So let's just take those options. And what I did is I took that chart and I filled it out according to each of these different persons, what their profile might look like. Now, when you download this presentation, I want you to print out that slide. It's page number 10. Okay? Print out page 10, and I want you to actually physically check off the boxes where you fit. And then I want you to compare them to these. Here's a wholesaler, for example. They have a lot of time. They're high on time, low on money. Training, medium. You got to have a little bit of training. Low on rehab skills, low on construction management, low on business ownership, and right down the line. That's what a wholesaler's profile looks like. If yours looks like this, then maybe wholesaling is your fit. This is the genius of this little chart. You get your chart, and then you're going to match it up to these other charts and see what your best fit might be. If you want to be involved in fix and flip, you see the time, money, training, and all the requirements for that. If you want to do buy and hold, here you go. There's an Airbnb, there's a money lender, and there's a passive investor. So I have filled all of these in, and notice that on passive investor, you can even be a passive investor if you don't have a whole lot of money. Now, there are some things that you have to do and some risks that you have to take, but I can show you how to do that. Don't worry about that. What I want you to do is fill out your own chart and then compare it to these charts. And I'm not saying that this is what you have to do. There are no rules. This is America, the land of the free and the home of the brave. You could still pursue what you want to, but I'm telling you, if your profile fits one of these other profiles, that's probably where you need to point, what you need to think about, and the path that you need to consider. Whatever you choose, I want you to do these 4 things. Get information, find a mentor, follow a proven path, and get cracking. I spend a lot of time speaking at events. I travel and speak at RIA groups and networking events and that sort of thing. And I meet a lot of people, and I've got thousands of people in my meetup group here in Atlanta, Georgia. And the vast majority of the people that I come into contact with have never done and will never do a deal. They want to. They're interested. They think they will. They're just thinking about it, they're considering, they're pondering, and what they are doing is they are suffering from the paralysis of analysis. I don't know that I have a cure for that other than just, some tough love. Get up off your keister and go get a deal. Make it happen. It doesn't matter whether you know what you're doing. Shoot, I go into deals all the time that are a little bit out of my comfort zone. I figure, well, I'll learn as I go. I know quite a few things, with over 1,000 properties that I've done, but I still learn new things all the time. And I still, sometimes it's still a little bit of a venture into the unknown. Don't let that stop you. The hardest thing is going to be get your first deal. And after that, it's going to kind of flow. You can trust me on this. I've seen it over and over again. Okay, so here's what you need to do. Download this presentation. Listen to my show, Flipping America. We've got a free app in the App Store. You can download it. You can listen to the show. You could go back to the very beginning. You can search the show notes. You can click on the links. You can search by topic. You can search by personality. We have some really fantastic personalities that come onto the show. And you can also just head over to Apple Podcasts or iTunes and listen to the show there. We're on all of the major platforms. We're on podcast, iHeartRadio, whatever your favorite is. We are there. You can find Flipping America. But I've given you a couple of options here. Listen to the show. We've done hundreds of shows, each one an hour long, packed with information, news you can use, statistics, and sometimes secrets about how to get involved in this business. You can get a complete education just by listening to the Flipping America show. Then on this website, click the resources tab, see what's there. We've got some courses and some other opportunities for you. And while you're there, subscribe to Wednesday Wisdom. That's our weekly email with some kind of a tip, and occasionally I'll get a really good bit of juicy insider information for one of our show guests, and we put that into the Wednesday Wisdom. So make sure you sign up for that. Okay, here you go. You've got the chart. You've got the things to compare. You've got a good place to sit down and intelligently think about your fit and getting started in real estate investing. Now it's up to you. We'll see you on the other side.